What happens when your vibrations are too high without protection? When your vibrations are too high without protection, the world around you begins to shift in ways that most people cannot comprehend. You start to feel everything, every emotion, every thought, every subtle shift in energy within yourself and others. It feels like you are suddenly tuned into a frequency that reveals the hidden layers of reality, exposing both beauty and chaos in ways you never expected. At first, it feels like enlightenment, like a cosmic gift that allows you to see the truth beyond illusions. But soon you realize that without the right protection, without grounding, this heightened state of being can become overwhelming, even dangerous. Have you ever wondered what it truly means to be too open, too receptive, too unguarded in a world full of conflicting energies? At the core of spiritual evolution, raising your vibration is seen as the key to transcending limitations, to unlocking higher consciousness, to manifesting effortlessly. But what most people don't realize is that raising your vibration without proper grounding is like opening all the windows in your house during a storm. Yes, fresh air may come in, but so will the wind, the rain, the debris, and everything else carried by the chaotic forces of nature. In the same way, when your frequency rises too fast without protection, you become like an exposed nerve in an unpredictable world. You absorb not just the light, but also the darkness. You feel the collective pain of humanity, the hidden suffering of others, the distortions of energy floating through the unseen realms. Without proper shielding, this heightened sensitivity can drain you, confuse you, and even lead you into spiritual burnout.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Imagine walking into a crowded room where everyone is speaking, but instead of just hearing words, you feel their emotions, their fears, their unspoken thoughts. At first, it might seem fascinating, like having a superpower. But as time passes, the weight of it all becomes unbearable. You start carrying energies that don't belong to you, emotions that are not yours, thoughts that invade your mind like whispers from an unseen world. The more you try to maintain your high vibration, the more you attract energies that seek to feed off your light. It's a paradox. Your light draws in both the seekers and the lost, both the enlightened and the confused, both the angels and the shadows. Without protection, you become a beacon in the dark, and not everything that comes to the light has good intentions. Have you ever noticed that the more spiritually awakened you become, the more you attract people who are searching for something, some form of healing, some form of guidance, some form of relief? It's because they sense your energy, your radiance, your heightened frequency. But not all who seek light do so with pure intentions. Some seek it because they have lost their own. Some seek it because they wish to consume it, to drain it, to attach themselves to it. And if you are not protected, if you are not discerning, you may find yourself constantly giving, constantly helping, constantly absorbing the burdens of others, until you are left depleted, exhausted, and disconnected from your own essence. There is an ancient truth that many overlook: balance is the key to all things. Just as the sun must set for the moon to rise, just as the tides must ebb before they flow, just as the inhale must be followed by the exhale, so too must a high vibration be balanced with grounding, with protection, with discernment. If you soar too high without anchoring yourself, you risk losing touch with reality, with your body, with the present moment. Many who awaken too quickly without protection experience what some call the spiritual psychosis state, where the lines between dimensions blur, where the self dissolves too rapidly, where the mind struggles to integrate the vastness of the cosmic truth. They begin to see things others do not, hear things others cannot, feel things that defy logic. And without proper grounding, without protection, without guidance, this can lead to confusion, isolation, and even fear. But why does this happen? Why does a high vibration without protection attract chaos instead of peace? The answer lies in the nature of energy itself. Energy, like water, flows to where it is most needed. When you raise your vibration, you become like a bright flame in the darkness, and like moths to a flame, energies both seen and unseen are drawn to you. Some come for healing, some come for wisdom, but some come simply because they are lost, fragmented, disconnected from their own source. And if you do not set boundaries, if you do not shield yourself, you may find yourself carrying burdens that were never meant to be yours. So what can you do? How do you protect yourself while maintaining a high vibration? The answer is not to lower your frequency, but to strengthen your foundation. Just as a tree must grow deep roots before it reaches toward the sky, so too must you establish strong energetic boundaries before expanding your consciousness. Grounding practices such as meditation, breathwork, connecting with nature, and physical movement help anchor your energy. Protection techniques such as visualization, energetic shielding, and setting clear intentions create a barrier between you and unwanted influences. Discernment, knowing when to give and when to retreat, when to open and when to close, is the key to maintaining balance in your spiritual expansion. But beyond techniques and practices, there is something even more essential: self-awareness. You must know yourself deeply. You must recognize when your energy is being drained, when your mind is becoming scattered, when your emotions are being influenced by something external. You must be able to differentiate between your own energy and the energy of others. Because at the end of the day, spiritual evolution is not just about ascending, it's about integrating. It's not just about reaching higher vibrations, it's about embodying them fully, in a way that serves not just yourself, but the world around you. And so I ask you, are you truly aware of how your energy is being affected by the world around you? Are you protecting your light, or are you allowing it to be scattered, consumed, drained? Are you maintaining balance between expansion and grounding, or are you soaring too high without a foundation to return to? The journey of spiritual awakening is not just about reaching the highest frequencies, it is about navigating them with wisdom, with strength, with protection. Because true enlightenment is not just about knowing the light. It is about understanding the shadows, about walking between worlds with awareness, about standing in your power without losing yourself. Now, if you are ready, let's go even deeper. What happens when your vibration becomes so high that reality itself begins to shift around you? What happens when your frequency begins to alter time, space, and perception? The answer is both fascinating and dangerous. When your vibration warps reality, the hidden dangers of energetic instability. When your vibration reaches an extreme level without the right protection, reality itself begins to shift in ways that most people never experience. You start to notice synchronicities happening at an unnatural rate, numbers aligning too perfectly, thoughts manifesting almost instantly, people reacting to your energy before you even speak. At first, it feels exhilarating, like you've unlocked a secret code to the universe, like there are no longer barriers between your mind and the world around you. But then, something strange happens. Time starts feeling different. Moments stretch or contract in ways that don't make sense. You think of someone and within seconds they call or appear. You begin to see patterns in everything, too many patterns. The structure of reality itself feels thinner, more malleable, almost fragile. And that's when the real danger begins. Because without protection, without grounding, without stability, this heightened state of being can become chaotic, even frightening. Have you ever had a moment where you felt like you were slipping out of time, where events unfolded in a way that felt too perfectly orchestrated, almost scripted? This is what happens when your vibration becomes so high that it starts to override the normal flow of energy in the world. You begin to operate outside of the collective rhythm, outside of the ordinary rules that govern time, space, and interaction. But here's the thing. The physical world is built on structure, on stability, on balance. When your energy is too high without protection, you disrupt that balance not just for yourself, but for everything around you. It's like tuning a radio to a station that no one else can hear, yet somehow the entire room starts vibrating to its frequency. This level of energetic power can be both a gift and a curse, depending on how you handle it. Here's where most people go wrong. When they reach this heightened state, they assume they've reached enlightenment. They believe they've transcended the limitations of the physical world, that they no longer need to follow the same rules as before. And in some ways, they're right. But what they fail to realize is that just because you can bend reality doesn't mean you should. Just because you can shift energy doesn't mean you are ready to handle the consequences. Because when you vibrate at such a high frequency without proper grounding, you don't just attract positive energies, you attract everything. You become a magnet for both the highest forms of light and the deepest forms of distortion. You open doors that you may not yet know how to close. Have you ever noticed that the most enlightened beings, the true masters, the real spiritual leaders, are also the most grounded? They do not float through life in a blissful daze, disconnected from reality. They are deeply present, deeply aware, deeply rooted in their own being. This is because they understand something most people overlook. Stability is more powerful than intensity. A candle that burns too fast consumes itself before it can truly illuminate. In the same way, if your vibration rises too quickly without protection, you risk burning out, losing yourself in the very energy you sought to master. And then there is the issue of perception. When your vibration is too high without protection, your perception of reality becomes distorted. What once seemed solid now feels fluid. What once felt distant now feels immediate. You start to pick up on energies, entities, and dimensions that most people do not perceive. Some of these energies are beautiful, divine, uplifting, but others are not. Because just as there are beings of light, there are also beings that thrive in chaos, in confusion, in deception. They are drawn to those who lack stability, to those who open themselves too quickly without discernment. They do not need to harm you directly, they only need to influence your perception, to plant seeds of doubt, of fear, of illusion. And once your perception is altered, your reality follows. This is why protection is not just a spiritual suggestion, it is a necessity. Protection does not mean closing yourself off from the higher dimensions. It does not mean lowering your frequency or shutting down your gifts. It means knowing how to navigate them without losing yourself. It means setting energetic boundaries so that you control your reality rather than being controlled by it. It means understanding that true power is not in how high you can go, but in how well you can maintain balance while expanding. So how do you protect yourself when your vibration is this high? The answer is deceptively simple, but profoundly powerful. You must anchor yourself in the present moment. The more connected you are to your body, to your breath, to the earth beneath you, the less likely you are to be thrown off course by the shifting energies around you. Grounding techniques such as walking barefoot on the earth, eating nourishing foods, practicing deep breathing, and engaging in physical movement help stabilize your energy. But beyond physical grounding, there is also mental and emotional grounding. You must train your mind to remain clear, your emotions to remain steady, your awareness to remain sharp. Because when you step into higher frequencies, your greatest asset is not your ability to ascend, it is your ability to remain centered no matter how high you rise. But here is the most profound truth of all. True protection comes from within. It is not just about shielding yourself from external energies, it is about strengthening your inner foundation so that no external force can shake you. It is about knowing yourself so deeply that no illusion, no distortion, no external influence can pull you away from your truth. Many people seek external protection crystals, rituals, mantras, and while these can be helpful, they are only tools. The real power lies in your own awareness, your own sovereignty, your own mastery over your energy. Because when you truly know yourself, when you truly stand in your power, nothing, no entity, no thought, no energy can control you. So I ask you again, are you truly grounded in your own being, or are you floating without direction? Are you in control of your energy, or are you allowing it to be influenced by forces beyond your understanding? Are you using your heightened vibration wisely, or are you allowing it to consume you? Because the truth is this, a high vibration is not the goal. Mastery is, stability is, awareness is. And if you do not learn how to protect yourself, how to ground yourself, how to navigate these energies with wisdom, then the very frequency you sought to elevate could become the very thing that destabilizes you. Now, if you are ready, let's go even deeper. What happens when your vibration is so high that you begin to detach from reality itself? What happens when you no longer feel connected to the physical world? When your relationships, your desires, even your sense of self begins to dissolve? The answer is both enlightening and terrifying. The disintegration of self, when a high vibration pulls you out of reality. There comes a point in spiritual awakening where everything that once felt solid begins to dissolve. The identities you once clung to, the desires that once drove you, even the very concept of self starts to feel like an illusion. When your vibration rises too high, too fast, without protection, you begin to detach not just from negativity, not just from suffering, but from reality itself. At first, this feels like liberation. You feel weightless, unburdened, free from the constraints of human emotions, from the limitations of the physical world. You no longer feel tied to expectations, to obligations, to the need for validation. You begin to see beyond the veil, beyond the material, beyond the temporary. But then, something unsettling happens. You realize that you are no longer fully here. You are floating, observing, existing, but not truly living. Have you ever felt like you were watching your own life from a distance, as if you were no longer the one experiencing it, but merely witnessing it? This is what happens when your vibration reaches such a high level that it begins to pull you away from the physical dimension. Your sense of identity becomes fluid, your connection to the material world weakens, and suddenly the things that once mattered, relationships, ambitions, even survival itself, begin to seem insignificant. Some might call this enlightenment, but what they fail to understand is that enlightenment is not escapism. True spiritual mastery is not about detaching from life, it is about being fully present in it. And when your vibration is too high, without protection, without grounding, you risk losing touch with the very thing you came here to experience, the human journey. This is one of the greatest paradoxes of spiritual evolution. The higher you ascend, the more you realize that everything is connected, that separation is an illusion, that time itself is a construct. But if you do not integrate this understanding properly, if you do not know how to balance this awareness with your human existence, you begin to drift. You begin to exist in a liminal space, not fully in the physical world, yet not fully beyond it. Conversations feel empty. Daily tasks feel mechanical. The things that once sparked passion now feel meaningless. And the worst part, no one around you understands what you're going through. You try to explain, but how do you describe something so intangible? How do you tell someone that you feel like you're dissolving, like you're slipping between dimensions, like the concept of you is unraveling? This is where many people get lost. They reach this stage and assume that they are meant to leave the physical behind, to abandon all attachment, to dissolve completely into the cosmic flow. But this is not the point of awakening. You did not come here to escape life. You came here to embody your highest self within life. And if you do not anchor yourself, if you do not learn how to bring your expanded awareness back into the body, back into the present, back into the human experience, you risk becoming a ghost in your own life here, yet not here. Aware, yet disconnected. Alive, yet not fully living. So what do you do when your vibration is so high that reality itself begins to feel unreal? How do you bring yourself back when you feel like you're drifting further and further away? The answer is deceptively simple. You must choose to be here. You must want to be here. You must understand that spirituality is not about leaving the world behind it, is about learning how to exist within it with full awareness. Grounding yourself is not a limitation. It is not a step backward. It is not lowering your vibration. It is integration. It is taking everything you have learned, everything you have seen, everything you have awakened to, and bringing it into your daily life. It is learning how to be fully present in a conversation, how to find meaning in the small moments, how to feel connected to your body, to your breath, to the earth beneath your feet. Because if you cannot do this, if you cannot balance your higher awareness with your physical existence, then what is the point of awakening at all? Many people think that raising their vibration means disconnecting from the world, but the truth is, the highest vibration is one of full presence. It is not escaping reality, it is embracing it with deeper awareness. It is not rejecting the physical, it is infusing the physical with spiritual consciousness. It is not about being above human emotions, it is about feeling them fully, deeply, without being controlled by them. So ask yourself, are you truly living, or are you merely existing? Are you fully present in your life, or are you floating above it, detached, unreachable? Because the ultimate goal is not to transcend life, it is to embody the highest version of yourself within life. The power of embodied light, when a high vibration becomes unshakable. There is a moment in every spiritual journey when the seeker must make a choice. After ascending so high, after feeling the fabric of reality shift, after experiencing the dissolution of self, you must decide, will you remain a wandering soul, floating between realms, or will you return fully to your life, bringing everything you have learned back with you? This is the final test of spiritual awakening, not how high you can ascend, not how much you can detach, but whether you can embody your highest vibration while remaining fully present in your human existence. Because the true masters of energy, the ones who have achieved real enlightenment, are not those who have escaped the world. They are the ones who have learned how to walk within it, untouched, unshaken, fully awake. When your vibration is high but unprotected, it can feel like a storm, wild and uncontrollable, pulling you in every direction. But when you learn to balance that energy, when you learn to ground it, to stabilize it, to integrate it, your vibration becomes something else entirely. It becomes power. Not power in the sense of control over others, not power in the sense of dominance, but power in the sense of presence. A presence so strong that it influences the space around you without effort. A presence so clear that it naturally repels anything that does not align with it. A presence so deeply rooted that it cannot be shaken by external forces, no matter how chaotic the world becomes. This is the secret that many overlook. A high vibration alone is not enough. It must be anchored in stability, in wisdom, in discernment. It must be embodied, lived, expressed through action, through choice, through the way you carry yourself in every moment. Otherwise, it remains scattered, fragmented, vulnerable to distortion. You have probably met people who radiate love and light, yet seem fragile, easily drained by the energies around them. And then there are those who carry a quiet, unshakable presence, people who do not need to prove their wisdom, who do not need to declare their spirituality, because it is woven into every word, every movement, every breath they take. This is the difference between having a high vibration and mastering it. So how do you reach this level? How do you move beyond the instability of ungrounded energy and step into the full embodiment of your highest self? The answer lies in integration. Integration means bringing your expanded awareness back into the body, into the moment, into the physical world. It means not just knowing spiritual truths, but living them. It means maintaining your high vibration not only in meditation or in solitude, but in the middle of a crowded room, in the face of conflict, in the presence of fear. It means no longer seeing the physical world as something to escape, but as something to transform with your energy. This is where true protection comes in, not as a shield, not as a defense, but as a natural consequence of mastering your own energy. When you are fully present, fully embodied, fully aligned with your highest self, nothing lower can stick to you. You do not need to constantly cleanse, constantly protect, constantly shield, because your very presence becomes the shield. You do not need to retreat from the world to maintain your vibration, because your vibration becomes unshakable. But here's the part that most people miss. Integration requires action. It is not enough to raise your frequency, you must anchor it into your daily life. You must let it shape the way you speak, the way you move, the way you think, the way you respond to challenges. You must bring your spiritual awareness into your relationships, into your work, into your creations. Otherwise, your high vibration remains abstract, untethered, unable to create real change. I think about the great spiritual figures of history. They did not just meditate on mountaintops. They walked among people. They faced challenges. They engaged with the world. They did not keep their light hidden, they embodied it, fully and unapologetically. This is what it means to have a high vibration with true protection. It means being so deeply connected to your own energy that nothing external can distort it. It means being so rooted in your own truth that no illusion can shake you. It means being so present in your own life that you no longer feel pulled between dimensions, no longer feel lost between worlds, no longer feel like you are floating without direction. So I ask you, are you ready to step into this level of mastery? Are you ready to stop searching, stop escaping, stop waiting for some external force to protect you, and instead become the force that shapes your reality? Because the truth is, you are the protection. Your awareness is the shield. Your presence is the power. Your embodiment is the mastery. The journey was never about leaving the human experience behind. It was about learning how to bring the highest frequencies into it, how to live as a fully awakened being in a fully grounded way. And once you realize this, once you step into this level of existence, your energy becomes something more than just high, it becomes unstoppable. Now, it is time. No more floating, no more slipping between worlds, no more being consumed by energies that you were always meant to master. Take everything you have learned, everything you have awakened to, and bring it into your life. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, because the world does not need more people who are lost in the clouds. The world needs those who can stand in the storm without fear, who can hold the highest frequencies without breaking, who can walk among chaos and still radiate clarity. The world needs you not just as an awakened soul, but as an embodied force of light. And that is what you were always meant to be.